It's 8:42 on WNTK. Hey, we got a big event coming up. If you're dialed into liberty and freedom, like George Michael was talking about, then you probably know all about the Free State Project, and they have their big Porc Fest coming up on the WNTK Newsline. I have Mike Vine. He is one of the organizers of the Porc Fest. Hey, Mike, what's happening?
Hi, Ben. How you doing?
I am great. So, you got Porc Fest coming up. Now, people are probably thinking to themselves, for the people who don't know, they're saying, I don't understand. Or is like a pig roast or something, but not so much.
Yeah, we get that a lot. But, Porc Fest just stands for the Porcupine Freedom Festival. The Free State Project has taken the porcupine on as our mascot. It's a friendly critter, but it does have defense mechanisms, and we sort of see ourselves that way. Generally peaceable, but if someone wants to get in a tangle, then they might end up with a quill.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny now that you mention it with the porcupines. I spend a lot of time in the woods, especially in the fall during hunting seasons. And one of the things that I find with porcupines is you're right. They're not going to mess with you. They just want to be left alone. I think that's a good way to sum up the Free State Project.
That's the key. But, on a deeper level, we're not the type of people that just want to go off and build our own castle and never see anyone again.
Sure.
We're actually forming a really great community here in New Hampshire, full of all sorts of different people, and that's what Porc Fest is really a celebration of, people coming together peaceably to celebrate, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and all the way down the Bill of Rights, and exercising those. So you'll see several different events from organized shoots just for people to teach their kids or even their spouses or other people how to get involved with self-defense. You'll see there's dance parties, there's vendors, people trading gold and silver and Bitcoin, alternatives to the U.S. dollar. So it's really it's a very unique thing, and I think people in the North Country especially, to have it come to your doorstep, we'd of course like people to come on down and get involved.
Mike Vine is with the Free State Project. We're talking about Porc Fest. Let's talk specifically, just real quick, about the Free State Project. I think just about everybody in this audience is very well aware of the Free State Project, especially being at Grafton's right in the middle of this listening area and kind of like the home of the project. But the idea is to get more libertarian thinkers, freedom-minded, liberty-minded thinkers to move to New Hampshire, where you can have more input into state government. Am I correct?
That's right. And Porc Fest is a key part of that process to show people. I mean, we all know that it's lovely up there around Lancaster. We wake up Rogers Campground. We look out over the mountains, where the sunrise or the sunset, and it's just gives people a real taste. I've traveled a lot. I feel more like I'm in the Old West when I'm up there than I do when I'm actually out west. And I think that's exactly the impression we want to give people, which is, this is a beautiful place. You can feel the freedom viscerally, and be in tune with nature and be in the woods. And it's been a great success that way.
Mike, one of the things I'm looking at right now, we're going to post porcfest.com. We'll post up the information on our Facebook page so people can find it. It should be noted, this is a week-long event. It starts on Sunday, June 16th, this Sunday. It runs straight through the week. I'm looking at some of the stuff. I mean, it's boy, you got speakers on everything. I mean, what are some of the key things you're looking forward to having people speak and hear some of the messages you have? Obviously, you got so much going on, there's no way we can cover the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm kind of an economics buff, so having David Friedman, he's the son of Milton Friedman and Rose Director, sort of some of the early free market proponents out of Chicago. He's coming to it's a big treat to speak about his theories. We've got Michael Strong, who's been partnered up with John Mackey of Whole Foods on a lot of entrepreneurship initiatives. His group's called Conscious Capitalism, where they try to show people that capitalism is the more compassionate alternative, and you're going to help people more by serving them in the market than you are by trying to get a government program for them. So he's going to be speaking on Friday and Saturday. We've got Yuri Maltsev, who was a Soviet defector in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He was originally on an advisory team to Gorbachev, and then he ended up defecting to the States, and he can talk about his experiences. He has some big concerns about the way the U.S. government is headed, and he sees New Hampshire as a potential safety valve, just like in the old USSR, there were parts of the empire that were a little more independent-minded and actually provided a little bit of relief, and he sees New Hampshire like that. Let's see. And there's just so many good ones.
It's crazy. I'm looking at. I mean, you got Gary Johnson coming. He was here at the WNTK studios. I really like that guy.
And then the other big emphasis we have this year, some people like to go and listen to talks and hash out ideas, but there's a whole segment of people who are really more interested in doing, and we have all these DIY classes, from canning to gardening, for people to teach each other practical skills about living a little more independently, and a lot of people are very interested in that.
Well, and you talk about that independent living and more, subsistence living. Really, there's a number of people who are really getting into gardening and husbandry. This is becoming a way of life. Be honest with you, my parents have always been like that, and we always thought of them kind of being on the fringe. But in the last few years, it's like, well, maybe they were on to something. And with that being said, it wouldn't be Porc Fest without what you have going on Saturday 22nd, raising pigs.
There you go. That's Mark Edge from Free Talk Live down in Keene, and he's been raising pigs. A lot of people in our group have some of them are longtime preppers or people focused on that, and they're going to share their experience. And some people are fairly new at it, and
sure.
They're going to. And Mark I think, falls in that category. He bought a piece of land outside of Keene, and he's been learning about raising animals, and he's just going to come and share what he thinks. So I think if you're at any skill level, as far as the stuff is concerned, it's a good opportunity to mix and mingle with other people at least interested in those same practices. Yeah,
and then beyond the practices, I like the idea of mixing and mingling with people that you have a lot in common with. That this audience, I think for the most part, does have pretty strong libertarian conservative leanings, and want to be left alone and want to live a liberty, freedom-filled life on their own. And I think that's the biggest thing that comes out of an event like Porc Fest. Especially sometimes, this is an Upper Valley audience, and sometimes you can feel, I talk about this, there's sometimes in the Upper Valley you can feel like you are an island unto yourself. And so to be around people that you have some agreement with, say, wow, we live in the same place. That's amazing. The last thing I want to touch on, Mike Vine is on the WNTK Newsline. He is one of the organizers of Porc Fest, which is in Lancaster at Rogers Campground. Starts this weekend on Sunday, goes right through the week. We'll post up information on our Facebook. But the last thing, Michael Bolden's coming on. I just had a conversation with Greg Moore from Americans for Prosperity about the 10th Amendment and said it's time that we start sticking up for states' rights at the state level and start pushing the federal government back. He runs the 10th Amendment. What's the 10th Amendment Center?
That's right.
Yeah, so I've actually listened to some of his stuff before, and I really like what he has to say. He's a keynote speaker on, looks like Saturday night or Friday night?
Friday night, I think it's 7 p.m., and he's excellent. I've known him for a little while now, and he's really built this thing up. In the 10th Amendment Center now, they have chapters in all 50 states, and that really gets to the heart of what the Free State Project can do for New Hampshire and what New Hampshire can do for us, which is we can become a beacon. We can make sure that New Hampshire stays. It's already one of the top, the freest states in the Union. But if we can push that envelope and see that New Hampshire stays in the forefront, providing that example and showing, because we know, I moved up from Manhattan, from New York, which is essentially a dying state, suffering under taxes and regulations, and the change from moving there to moving here is night and day. And I can feel it just going about, meeting business owners, people in my town, that there's a great burden that they're not carrying because they don't have to deal with all this stuff. They can just go about their business. So I think if we can keep New Hampshire on that direction, that's what people are moving here for. So I think people in the Upper Valley, people who are native New Hampshireites, who have believed in this stuff for generations, and sort of kept the environment for us, they should be very welcoming of us, and I've had a great relations with them, and I think it's a win-win as long as you're not moving up from Rhode Island and telling us we need to take away our freedoms like Cynthia Chase. Then we're
Whatever
all in this
do you
together,
mean?
and I think we all have the same goals.
Sounds good. Mike, hopefully I'll get to see you one of those nights. I'm going to try and get up there and meet everybody and say hello. Thanks for being on today. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Mike Fine, Porc Fest. Go to our Facebook page. Check it out.